Okay, so number one reason why we're going to use Adobe Premiere is basically preferences. Each of us has have different preferences. Maybe some of you would like to use Sony Vegas or Final Cut or whatever, and most likely I'm used to Adobe Premiere Pro as a tool for my editing. The second thing is the Hollywood is using it, so most likely some of the Hollywood editors are using this Adobe Premiere Pro. So it's really a powerful tool that even the Hollywood does use this one for their editing. Okay, I'll show you some video here. Uh,
It will play it out in real time.
We could see if we had, but
I use Premiere because it's basically multi-format agnostic. Anything that you want to put it in, it will play it out in real time.
Adobe Premiere was built for scratch. With filmmakers, it seemed like the perfect choice for us.
That speed of finding multiple edits that weren't necessarily in the project that you had at the same time, that's something that Adobe aggressively chased for us. And now we're able to do that with much more efficiency.
This is a company that has a unique understanding of what it is to be able to offer an end-to-end solution.
One thing that I like about Adobe Premiere is the fact that how integrated it is.
Those feature sets continue to improve in Premiere, especially, for example, right?
For the most part, we tapped a lot of it in Premiere. We couldn't have made this movie otherwise.
There's a lot of people that I talk to now, and they're like, what do you edit on? I say Premiere, and they're like, yeah, that's what I use.
We didn't want to deal with proxy files or low-res files. We worked with the actual native footage.
I don't have a team. I'm just hiking around editing by myself, and it's exhausting, but it's the most fun I've ever had.
Future filmmaking, in my view, is art. And the art is basically so improved by the ability for young filmmakers to take tools like Adobe Premiere. And if you have access to tools that allow you to do it yourself, you will make better filmmakers.
okay, there you go. You see how cool is this Adobe Premiere stuff, right? It's been used by these Hollywood powerful editors in Hollywood. And the second thing is, it is not really that expensive if you use Adobe Premiere Pro. How much it is? Okay, so you can see here in their store, Adobe Store, okay, that Adobe Premiere Pro is just around 1,046 pesos a month. Okay, so it's a subscription. And maybe you might say that, oh, 1,000 is already too expensive for me. Well, that depends in the preferences, and depends on the what do you call this one, reference that you're talking about. I mean, let's say for example, how much does an editor, okay, how much does an editor um, get from this Adobe Premiere Pro? Okay, so if you're looking into this, I've tried to search some of these people, and in terms of how much rate they have, some of them have $20 per hour, okay, $40 per hour. And if we go to Philippines alone, okay, some of them get $12 per hour, or offers $15 per hour. 50, there's even a 50. $30 per hour. So that's really big enough, right? Okay, let's just probably start with $10 if you're new to editing. So maybe you offer yourself a $10 per hour. Okay, so let's say for example $10 times 8 hours a day, so $100 per day, right? And that would be around $80 per day. And if you're going to multiply that $80 for 20 days, that means 5 days a week. Okay, because we have 2 days day off, rest day. So 20 days in a month, that would be around $1,600. So if you convert that $1,600 into pesos, you'll get around 79,704 pesos for your rate. So if you're going to deduct that 79,000 to 1,046, which is the price of Adobe Premiere, you still get around 78,658 pesos in a month. Well, you can see that it's the monthly subscription for Adobe Premiere is really really cheap compared to what you can get from it. So that's it, right? So without further ado, let's start with Adobe Premiere Pro. So starting with Adobe Premiere Pro, okay? So before we start with Adobe Premiere Pro, we have to think first what resolution are we going to have? Are we going to have a 1920 by 1080, or are we going to have a full HD? Are we going to have an HD or a 4K resolution? So you need to think about it. And most likely, for now, we usually deal with a 1920 by 1080 resolution, which is a full HD resolution. It's a 16 by 9 ratio. Okay, so let's have it in a Premiere now. So let's try to open Premiere. And at the start, we're going to see this welcome to Adobe Premiere Pro. And below here, we have some recent projects that you are working with. And if you don't have them, there will be empty. Okay, but for now, what we can do, instead of opening a project, because we don't have a project yet, so we basically just click the new project here. Now, you might be confused or be afraid of these symbols, wordings, and whatever it is. Just don't focus much about this. Most likely, what we need is just a time code. Okay, display format time code, and display format audio samples, and then capture format. Let's just go to HDTV. We don't need to discuss this deeply for now because this is basic. So let's just have this as our initial setup. Okay, and one important thing here is you need to save your project. Okay, you need to set up your project where you're going to save your project. So for me, maybe I'll save this project in C here, and then maybe GCX, GCX Entertainment, live stream. Okay, let's go to the live stream, and then we go to basic video editing with Adobe Premiere. And from here, we're probably going to add a new folder, which is editing. Okay, then we select that folder, and we're going to name our title here. Okay, a project title. So maybe for this project title, we're going to say basic editing with Premiere. I'll just say basic editing. Okay, now click OK. And from this point, okay, this is somehow a bit confusing for you. Okay, there are lots of folders and then lots of presets, setups, which you might be confused. What are these numbers? What are these names or definitions? So let's forget about this for now and just jump into the settings. And what we can do here is we're going to use custom. Okay, and our time base would be 30 frames per second. Okay, so we can actually go to 15 frames per second, 25 frames per second, but having more frame rate makes the video more smoother. Okay, so most likely for animations, we just go to 2D animations, we just go to 15 frames per second because it will take more time to draw some frames. Per frames we have to draw some stuff. And for editing, we don't have to worry about those things. So let's jump into 30 frames per second, which is most likely the usual setup for video editing. Okay, and yes, so we are now in 30 frames per second, and our resolution here should be full HD, which is 1920 by 1080. There you go. And our pixel aspect ratio here should be square pixels 1.0. Then just go with no fields, progressive scan. And yeah, and maybe for our audio here, just go with 48 hertz. It hurts. Okay. And audio samples. We just leave this preview file format to Microsoft AVI and then code it to DV24p advanced. Just leave it like that. Okay. You can also save your preset so that you don't have to set this up every time you're going to create a new project. Okay. So we're saving this project, saving this preset here, and maybe name this my HD editing. No. Full HD editing. So my FHD, meaning full HD editing. Okay. And you can write a description, which this is a 1920 by 1080 resolution, and let's say a 16 by 9 ratio. And full HD. Okay, so let's click OK here, and we're almost done. We just have to name our first sequence here for the editing. You can rename this later on, but yeah. So let's just leave this to sequence 01. Okay, click OK, and here we go. We're inside Adobe Premiere Pro, and we are so excited to drag our first video and edit our video here. So how are we going to start with editing our video? Well, most likely we're going to look for a video, right? In my case, I don't have much video, so I'm going to download a video from a website. I think you know about this Shutterstock, right? In a moment. So let's go to Shutterstock. And here you can download as much as footage as you want. However, they have they have prices, but you can actually download a free footage with watermarks. Okay, let's say, for example, we would like to do some editing with some food. Wow, this is yummy. I feel so hungry already. Anyhow, so maybe let's start with the fish here. Okay, we're going to download this fish, and maybe this what's this, pasta or spaghetti, and yeah, maybe this one. I don't know what is this, but let's just download this one as well. So you can see here in the Shutterstock that they have some very expensive pricing here, but yeah, you can still do some try. Click this try, and it will download the preview of the video. Okay, with this silhouette of the Shutterstock or watermarks of the Shutterstock. And let's download this one as well. And as well as this. Okay, so we have 3 videos now. And one important thing here, okay? One important thing. You need to make sure that these videos are saved in a folder where it can easily be located by the Adobe Premiere. So I'm going to copy this one, or maybe cut this, okay, and paste it somewhere that Adobe can easily remember this. So if I go to my file here, JSX and live stream, so in most cases, I should put it here in my editing, okay, and then create a folder. Okay, so we have already 3 videos, and we make sure that these videos are transferred into the source, or make sure you create a source folder here. And inside that source folder, we're going to paste our 3 videos here. In that case, it's easy for Adobe Premiere to, because when you're going to drag some files here, it's not actually being placed inside this Adobe Premiere. It's just getting some reference of your folder. So you need to make sure that Adobe Premiere can remember that folder from time to time. Okay. So one thing for sure here is we need to make sure that our files or our project is organized, because we don't want to be our project to be really confusing in the end of in the long run. So we need to make sure that we created some folders here. Okay. So new item, or you can create this new bin. They name the word bin instead of folder. I don't know why. So just click this one and you'll basically have a folder here. Now, we're going to name this bin maybe download or footages, right? Depends on you. So yeah, so we're going to name this footages, and then here we are going to, if I double click this one, or maybe just lower there should be something, okay, there. You can actually click this icon down below here if you can see it. It's quite tiny. There's a square, and then there's some lines, which tells you list view and icon view. I prefer list view because it's quite easy for me to see all the list of my content rather than the icon view. Okay, so I'll go to list view, and now I can drag my files here in the footages. So if you are going to open your file, okay, here, so we have this file here, and this file is under live stream, basic video editing, and we have editing here, and I've created a folder here called source, and there I put all the 3 videos that we've downloaded. So what we're going to do here is we select all these 3 videos or clips, and we just have to drag it here in our footages folder. Okay, there you go. So we are ready to put this into the timeline. Okay, let's start with this. Okay, when I try to drag this one, guys, okay, when I try to drag this one, in most cases, if it's the first time you're going to drag a clip in your timeline here, there's a warning that will tell you this clip does not match the sequence settings. So change sequence to match the clip settings. So the clip that we are have a different resolution, which does not fit to the resolution that we are doing. So it's up to you guys. It's actually it depends on you whether you are going to change the settings that will fit to recording a video on your phone, right? So if you're recording your video on your phone, instead of doing some settings by yourself, you just have to drag your file here, and automatically it will adapt the settings of your file that is being recorded in your phone. So that's a handy thing, right? But for us, since we are targeting the 1920 by 1080 resolution, so we just have to click this keep existing settings. Okay, so now we have our first clip. Now, how are we going to drag this clip? Okay, we can actually, you can see here we have several tracks. We have video 1, video 2, video 3. So these are the tracks of Premiere. We can actually just move it anywhere of these tracks. Okay. Now, in order to drag this one, you make sure that your tool is under selection tool. Okay. This arrow here, we have this selection tool. Okay. Okay, so what is this selection tool? Selection tool is basically most likely the basic thing that you're going to use for editing. Okay. Let's say, for example, we have 3 files that we have in 3 clips that we've dragged here into the timeline, so, or into the sequence. So we can just select this by holding left mouse button. Okay, if we hold left mouse button and then make a box selection, you can actually select all these clips that you have, and you can move them uniformly. Okay, you can also click anywhere from this area, and then you can just click your clips so that you can drag them individually. Okay, now, so what we can do first is let's try to drag this one and put it at the first of the timeline. Okay, so it should be here at the, should stick to this first of the timeline here. Okay, and we can actually zoom in and zoom out of our video here. So by zooming in and zooming out, you can actually click this, this small square under this slide bar. Okay, from that, if you click it, it can zoom in and zoom out. I think you can also do a hold Alt. Yes, you can also press Alt in your keyboard and use your mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. However, for the beginners, I think it's best if you just zoom in and zoom out by clicking this slider here. Okay, the tip of the slider. Okay, you might notice when we drag our clip here that the clip is very small. Okay, yeah, it's very small because this is just a preview or sample that we're downloading. We can actually scale this up. Okay, how do we scale this one? So make sure that you are selecting your clip. Okay, make sure that you're selecting your clip. You go to Effect Controls. Okay, Effect Controls, and now you can go to your motions here. You can click this arrow. Okay, arrow, and down below we have this scale. Okay. Now in scale we have 100%. You can actually just click this scale. Okay, hold left mouse click, and just slide your mouse up and down, left. So if you slide your mouse to the towards right, you can scale your video or image. And you can also press or type a value here using your keyboard. So let's say, for example, 3 to 3, enter. Okay, or you say 50. You'll able to see that our clip here also changes. So you can either hold left mouse button and slide towards left or right to change these values or change your scale, or just simply type it 3 to 5, and that's it. Okay, so we're able to scale our video here now. And now we are ready to play this first clip that we have. So how are we going to play this one? There are several options that we can play this. And the good thing that I usually do is just press spacebar. Okay. You can also click this play button here. Okay. And you can see there's the word space. right? So by clicking spacebar, it will play, and clicking spacebar again, it will stop. Simple as that. Okay, simple as the pasta that we're looking at. So now we have our first video here, and it's playing well. And how are we going to add more videos? Okay, let me delete these clips first. Okay, and we're going to add more videos here. So to add more videos, you see we have already 3 footages here, right? So what you can do is just to hold left mouse button and just drag your clip to the sequence window. Okay, you can overlap it if you want to, or put it on at the edge or at the tip of the first video that you have. You can also overlap your video like that, and it will automatically cut. It will automatically cut the video that the first clip that you are editing. So what will happen here if it's cut, and then if you move this one, okay, if you move your video here, or if you move your clip, you'll notice that, oh wait, my first clip is already been cut. How can I restore it to the previous one? So to do that, you just have to drag this, you just have to hover your mouse at the tip of this clip and make sure that you're still in the selection. Okay, we're still in the selection here. So you can actually just hover your mouse around the tip of this clip, and then you will see that there's a red arrow. I don't know how, something like there's a bracket and with the arrow. So pointing inside. Then from there you can hold left mouse and just drag it um, anywhere you like, maybe around here, or you can also drag it at the max of the clip. So this is most likely the max of the video clip that we have, so it will not be dragged any more longer. Okay, so you can shorten the clip like that and drag it to the max of the clip if you want to. So easy. So it's quite easy to do some shortening of the clip and dragging it to the max of the clip. Okay, so now what if we are going to let's say, for example, I would like to cut somewhere here. Let's say, for example, I will put this second clip on video 2. Okay, how are we going to move this clip? You just have to hold left mouse button and then move it up and down. Okay, simple as that. And from there, you can actually put it in video number 2 and just drag over to overlap with the video number 1. So let's say, for example, I would like to cut my video number 1 somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. I would like to cut my video number 1 somewhere here. You can actually just drag this thing like that, or you can use the razor tool. Okay, so the razor tool is very effective to cut the clips based on which timeline you would like to cut. So let's say, for example, around this part, I'm going to cut this video 1 clip. So make sure you click this razor tool and click it somewhere here. There you go. And now go back to your selection tool. Okay, go back to your selection tool. Select the clip that you don't want to be a part of your sequence. Then just press delete. Okay, so we have our timeline now, which is from this spaghetti thing, then jump to this. I don't know what's the name of this dish. Anyway, the video is very small. So how are we going to scale this up again? So first things first, select the clip. Okay, you can also click this small arrow, guys. Okay, in this video track, you can also click this small arrow in order for the clip to to display some images. You can even change this one. Okay, set display style to show frames. So when you click the show frames, you can actually see the frames of these videos. See, so it's easy to visualize which part you're going to cut the the video if you want to. But in my case, it seems to be confusing, so I think it's best for me to just show the head of the video. At least I know what video it is. So to scale this clip, we need to go to the effects control. Okay, listen. There might be a chance that your effects control is being closed. Hey, my effects control is missing. How can I open it again? Okay, I can't see it. Okay, so one option here is you go to the window, go to your workspace, okay, and click maybe the effects, and then go back to window again, workspace, and click the editing again. Oops, it's still missing. So the only option here that we are going to have is just look or just find that window here in the drop down list. So most likely this FX is the one that we are looking for. So click that FX, and I think this is not the one. In a moment, guys. It should be somewhere here. Yeah, it's FX control. Okay, it's FX control. So it's back now. So let's click our clip here and make sure to hover around this motion and click the arrow to display some of these properties, and make sure you are here in the scale and just hover your mouse in these values, then left mouse button click, hold left mouse. What's that? Left mouse hold left mouse, whatever. So you need to hold your left mouse button here and drag it to the left or to the right. Okay, so in our case, we actually know the value here already. You can actually see it here in our first clip that the value is 325, right? So we're going to copy this one. So 325. So clicking this clip here, just paste the value 325, and that's it. You'll have the same scale from your first clip and the second clip. Now, it's easy, right? Now, how are we going to do some transitions? I think one of the important thing here is dealing with transitions, right? Because it makes the video more appealing if we have if you have some cool transitions that is going on. Well, there are several ways to deal with transitions, and one way is to do some manual stuff. Okay, so how are we going to do some manual stuff? Let me just zoom in to around this area. Okay, at the beginning of my first clip, I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to change the opacity of this. What opacity of this clip? What is opacity? It's not a Korean opa. It's more into the transparency of your clip. Okay, so that's opacity. So how are we going to lower the transparency or opacity of this clip? By clicking this pen tool. Okay, you see this pen tool here? There's a pen. Okay, and I assume that you can see that there's a yellow line in your clip, right? So there's a yellow line in your clip here, and we're going to adjust this opacity, okay, by clicking this pen tool and hover it towards the yellow line. Okay, maybe we're going to create two dots. Okay, how do you call this one? These two circles. Okay, so now we have two circles here, or two markers, and the other marker, I'm going to lower this down like that. So what happens here is the opacity of this first clip goes 0. That means our first clip here is being shown, and then as the time goes along, the opacity of the second clip goes higher and higher, and it goes to 1, showing your second clip. So if we're going to play this, okay, we have this I'm not sure what's the name of this, but this something like a duration of your clip will help you to just play the portion of the clip you would like to evaluate. Okay, so if you would like to evaluate this area only of your clip, you can just drag this evaluator. I'll probably call this evaluator, or the duration, okay, of the overall clip that you're going to render. And from there, I can just press spacebar, and you will see that once it goes to the end, it just, hey, that's weird. In a moment, guys. It should supposed to, supposed to stop somewhere here, but it's not stopping. We'll deal with this later on. Something is not working properly here. Anyway, you can see that our transition that we have done here is working fine. If we press spacebar, it's now blending between the first clip and the second clip. Now you can actually increase, if you think that the transition is, it's too fast for you, you can actually just increase the time. Maybe you can increase this clip here by going to the selection tool, and yeah, so this will be this is the end of our first clip. So we need to adjust this transparency over here, going to the right. Okay, so when you press spacebar there, so you can see there's a little bit of something like a delay of transitioning between the first clip and the second clip. Well, that's one thing for dealing with the transition of Adobe Premiere. It's quite manual, and it takes so much time. The other way around is quite easy. Okay, so let me just delete this marker here, so we can have a 100% of our opacity. And instead of putting this on top, I can just put it here on the next of the first clip. Okay, so we have the first clip and the second clip, just connect them together. And now we are going to go to these effects. Okay, the first one is effects control, and the second one here is effects. Okay, so under effects, we have this video effects and video transition. So we're going to open this video transition, and now you see there are several transitions here. We have 3D motion, dissolve, iris, and so on and so forth. Maybe what we can do is just use this dissolve thing, okay, and use this cross dissolve. So what we're going to do is just hold left mouse click button and drag it at the center of these two clips. If you cannot drag it to the other clip, then just drag it here at the first of this clip that you have. Now you can see here that we can actually have a blending between the two, right? And that's a very easy way to do some transition. And the good thing about this transition is you can adjust it also. So how are we going to adjust this transition? You can actually just click this transition here and change the duration of the time. Let's say, for example, I want the duration around 6 seconds. Wow, that's too long. Let's try it that. So, okay, so we have a 6 seconds duration here. If we try to play this one, okay, that's too transition, right? So yeah, you can also play with some starting and the ending if you want to, but I'm not going to discuss this for now. The most important thing is you know how to change the duration of your transition. So maybe 2 seconds is enough. There you go. So that's one thing to deal with transitioning for Adobe Premiere. And maybe we can also add some sounds here, because we don't have sounds. See, it's too empty. We don't just a clip that we're having here. So if you want to add some sounds, you can open. We have a royalty free music here in the audiojungle.net. So if you download a preview here, there will be a watermark saying Audio Jungle, Audio Jungle. But yeah, that's fine for now. Okay. So make sure again, okay, make sure that you are going to cut your or copy your file here and paste it in your folder where the Adobe Premiere is located, or your project is located. So just X and live stream, basic video editing, and source, and paste it here. You can actually, in order to make this more order, guys, maybe you can have an audio here, and you can have a clip here. Now, notice here, okay, if I'm going to select these three clips and put it here in the folder, there might be a chance that my files will be missing in my Premiere Pro. You can see here, everything is gone, right? Premiere Pro could not locate it. Hey, where did you put your clips? I cannot find it. So that's the good thing if you put your clips in one file or one folder, so it's easy for the Premiere Pro to locate it. So here we added it here in our clip. Okay, he's looking for 337533814 clip, which is this one. Okay, so select that one and then click select, and I think it will automatically locate for other files as well inside that folder. Okay, so we have our files are back now. Oh, we have another one here. Big fan here. Nice one, Gao. Legendary Noob. Hello, Legendary Noob. Thanks for watching our tutorial here. Welcome to GCX channel. So now, where are we now? So we're going to add some audio here, okay, to our timeline. So to add that audio, you need also to what? To drag that audio inside your bin folder. So go back here to your project basic editing. Then here we have some footages. Instead of footages, we are going to create a new bin and name it audio. Audio. Is there a plural for audio? Anyway, so yeah, so just make it audio here. And now we're going to add this first audio that we have downloaded and paste it here. Oh, it's on top. You make sure that it's inside the audio folder. Okay, so from there we can drag this audio into our audio clip here, right? You can have actually 1, 2, and 3. We don't want to put this in 1 because we have some audio here, although it's totally blank. But yeah, I think it's best if you put it here in audio 2 or audio 3. Okay, there we go. And we can click this arrow here so we can see some of these. It's best if you can see the visual of this waveform, so it's easy for you to check where you can cut it out or not. Okay, you can also, if I'm not wrong, you can actually supposed to yeah, so as you can see here, you can actually increase the size of the display by dragging this up and down. Okay, so that's simple as it is. So if we have several audios here, for example, you would like to blend some audios. Okay, let me just download another audio here. Okay, so let's find another audio. What's this? how can I download this one? I'll just click here. Maybe name something like cooking, cooking music. Wow. So yep, I'll just download this. I don't need to know what type of video it is. Not what type of audio I mean. Show in folder, and we make sure that this audio is dragged into our audio folder here. Okay. So that's the happy, shalala. Okay, so we're going to drag this, the happy audio, happy by Plus Music Preview, under the audio folder. And we can now drag it maybe somewhere here in the audio 4. We don't have audio 4, guys. See, we don't have audio 4. We only have audio 3. So the moment I'm going to drag this happy down below here in audio 3, okay, it will automatically create another. The good thing about this is it's dynamic. See, it automatically create another audio track here, which is audio 4. So that's a good thing. Now what we can do here is we can actually, blend these two music together if you want to, by going to the audio mixer here. So we have this audio mixer, and you can actually blend this audio 4. Maybe you want the audio 4 to be a bit lower, and maybe audio 3 to be a bit higher in sounds.
Audio Jungle.
You can see, guys, that my audio meter goes very high. We don't want that to happen. This is one good thing about Adobe Premiere Pro, because you can actually how do you call this one, equalize or neutralize the audio sound. Maybe control it maybe around 6 decibel. Is this decibel? Yeah, it's dB, so it's decibel. So maybe around 6 decibel, to make it uniform with the other stuff here. So you can actually see how these two clips can be equalized. Okay, so now I'm trying to equalize these two clips so that it will not go beyond. Sometimes you might notice some sound that it's suddenly goes loud and then suddenly goes slow. So with Adobe Premiere, you can see that visually. You don't have to listen it and see if the sounds are already equal enough. Here in Adobe Premiere, you can see the sounds if it's equal or not, and that's the good thing about it. Right? Also, the good thing about this is we can do transition between two audios. So how are we going to do a transition between two audios here? Let's say, for example, I'm going to copy this one, okay, the lower part here. I'm going to Control C, and somewhere here, I'm going to paste my audio. Now, remember, guys, you might see this, this white thing here, okay? This white thing means that this is the track that is active for copy and paste, duplicating stuff. Is audio 1, and when I paste my clip, it will paste here in the audio 1 track. Okay, if I deactivate my audio 1 and maybe click this audio 2 and make sure that my timeline is somewhere here. Okay, it also depends where it is. So when I press paste, there. So it's already in the audio 2, and then it's based on where you drag your timeline. So yep, I think from here we are good to do some test render, right? It's a simple thing for now. It's a basic thing for now. We've added the clips here, and we've added some audio here. And let's say, for example, we want these things to end, and we're satisfied with our editing. So let's try to render this clip, the works of ours. So you make sure that this duration here should go within the the last frame that you have, okay, and the first frame that you have. And from there, you can see that our duration will be around 32 seconds, if I'm not wrong. And you can just leave this somewhere like that, or you can also cut it if you want to. So how are we going to cut this one? Just press razor tool, and you can cut it like that, and then maybe go back to selection tool and press delete. There you go. And maybe just focus it a bit so that you can make sure that things are aligned together here. And from there, let's try to render these simple things that we have. So to render this one, you just have to simply, if let me check it here if I can see it, but most likely I just have to, Control M, press Control M to render my stuff. It's a shortcut thing. So let me see if I can see it here in the file. And Adobe Premiere here. Maybe I just press Control M. So just remember that one, guys. It's very easy. It's Control M. So by pressing Control M, you'll basically able to export your file now. And here, okay, what format are you going to choose? So maybe in my case, I'm going to choose H.264. This is usually the format that most of the editing that we're going to export. And then you can look for a preset here. What type of preset are you going to do? Most likely, since we're dealing with YouTube here, then let's deal with YouTube here, which is 1080 29.97. That is 30 frames per second. So YouTube HD 1080p and 29.97. Select that one. Then output name. So let's click that one and then change this to my first. Okay. And save it somewhere in the under your editing folder. Instead of source, we're going to create a new folder here called rendered. Okay. Rendered. Okay. So this is where you're going to save your rendered files. And now we're going to click save. And most of it we don't need to change because we've already set this up in our at the first time we are opening the Premiere Pro. So yep. So we have H.264, YouTube, and 1920 by 1080. And what we're going to do now is just click export. So let's wait for a bit. Maybe it takes some few seconds or few minutes. And once it's done, then we are good to go and upload it to our YouTube channel. So guys, do you have any questions so far? Okay, maybe some clarifications that we are going to end our session. Please try to type your concerns. Okay, so I'll try to discuss a little bit more, and while waiting for some of your concerns, if you have some, then if none, then we can end this up. Okay, so the one of the important thing here in Adobe Premiere is to make a a workspace. Okay, and most likely for our workspace we use editing. You can actually create your own workspace. Let's say, for example, I've shuffled some of this stuff. Maybe this program here will be, somewhere here, and this effect somewhere here. You see, everything is shuffled up. So now I can save this one, window, go to my workspace, and new workspace. So maybe you name this one as shuffled workspace. RWS. So now you have a shuffled workspace. Okay. You can also go back to editing workspace. So when you click this one, it's basically just going to, hey, it's not going to my editing. Okay, I think I've messed around with my workspace with the editing here. It's actually saving with in the shuffled workspace. Anyway, let's just go here into the editing CS5 here. Okay. So yep. So it's good if you start with a workspace that of your own. So it's easy for you to remember every time you're going to start up with Adobe Premiere Pro. And yeah, so I think we don't have any concerns. So just to recap some stuff, okay, let me close this one. Uh, no, I'm not going to save this one for now. So we open Premiere Pro. Then we create a new project. Well, basically we have already so it should be time code, audio samples, HDTV, and then the name of your project, maybe project 2. Make sure to save your project in a folder where you are going to be familiar with, which is in my case, I'm going to save it here under editing. Okay, select folder and click OK. Now in this case, I'm not going to change anything here. Okay, I'm not going to change anything here because here in the settings we already have a preset that we've done. Okay, so we've saved that preset here, which is this my FDH editing. So we're going to use this one with the name sequence 1 for now. And there you go. Opened. And one important thing is we are going to go to, hey, wait. Okay, so I think my editing stuff here is being mixed up also. So I need to reset my current workspace here. Okay. So there you go. So we have our current workspace being resetted. So make sure that you're under the project here, and we're going to create new bin. Okay. The bin would be footages and audio or audios. I don't know if there's a plural of audio. Okay, so we have two things here, and then now what we can do is make sure that your clip and audio is located somewhere that your Premiere Pro can easily remember, which is in my case I put it under editing and source, and I have a clip here which I can drag this 3 clip inside my footage. Okay, and also I also have an audio here which I can drag this 2 audio inside my audio folder. All right, so from there I can just easily drag some of these files. I can also excuse me for a moment. I can also watch this video here before I put it here. Okay, before I drag it here in my timeline, I can just double click this one. Okay, and after double clicking it, I can actually see it here in my other screen. So when I play it, maybe let's say for example I want to start I want to start the clip from around this area. You can actually just click this mark in, and I want to end my clip around this area, so you can click this mark out. So from that point you can drag this clip now in your video 1, and it's only recording, or it's only getting that portion of the clip that you are setting up here, and that's a good thing, right? Instead of, because there are times that your video is 1 hour and you only need a portion of that video to be added. So it's easy for you to just drag the portion of the video rather than cutting and looking forward into which part you need to cut the video. So it's quite hard to do. So just open it by double clicking it, and then after double clicking your clip, you can actually look around where you want to cut your video, maybe somewhere here, then click this mark in, and maybe around this area, click this mark out, and voila, you can just drag that video here already. So we're discussing about, we're able to discuss about selection tool, which you can move your clip somewhere else. You can select your clip, you can select everything as well, and move the clip anywhere you want. You can also hover your mouse at the edge of the clip, so you can drag the extent of the clip, where the clip ends. So it's very handy to just drag sometimes, or to lower the clip sometimes, like that. And yep, that's good enough. Okay. Oh, it's me, Carlin. CC. Carlin is here. Welcome, Carlin. We're almost done with our tutorial here, so I'm just waiting for some questions from other listeners if they have some concerns. So welcome, CC, to our tutorial here about Adobe Premiere Pro editing. So yep, so one thing here, guys, is how are we going to scale our video? So just click your video here and go to Effects Control, Motion, and scale it up. Okay, how do we scale it? Just hover your mouse, hold left mouse button, and hover it left and right. Okay, just drag your mouse left and right to scale it. Anyway, you can also type your some values here. For example, 3 to 5, and I think that's much easier. Okay, so in terms of audio, it's basically the same thing. You just have to hold left mouse and drag it under the audio stuff here. And you can cut some of this stuff if you want. How am I supposed to cut my audio here? By clicking this razor tool. And you can actually cut several portions of your audio if you want to. And if you want to delete some of this stuff, you can just click the arrow thing here, okay, and then delete the selected stuff that you would like to delete. Okay, now to add some transitions to our video here, let's say, for example, in this area, we want to have transition between the first clip and the second clip. You just have to go to the effects and video transition. We have several options here in video transitions, and maybe for now we just have to select this dissolve and cross dissolve. So you can also, okay, I think I need to increase the size of this to 3 to 5 as well. So there you go. So we have a cross dissolve of the video clip that we have. You can also do that in your audio. So we have audio transition here as well, which you can also do some maybe constant power here between the two audios that you have. Okay, guys, so that's it. And we're done with a basic tutorial with Adobe Premiere. And yeah, I forgot, how are we going to render this one? Just press Control M and go to maybe H264 and make sure that you choose YouTube. Choose YouTube 1080p for an HD of a full HD of 1920 by 1080. And from there, you can select the output name here. Okay, my first editing, maybe my recap of my editing, save it, and now we can now export it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching our simple tutorial here in Adobe Premiere Pro, and hope you were able to get something from this basic tutorial. I think there are no concerns right now. I hope everything is. I hope you guys are able to absorb what we have discussed. Thank you for listening, and this is GCX channel. Now ending my session. Thank you, guys.